Welcome back. For part two of this video, I want to go into conditional commands, which are really helpful when you're dealing with outliers. You want to label certain points, um, or Cook's D, or on a scatter plot, or anything like that. And this is all about the word if, because you can have a command and then you write if, and then you can create some condition. If the standardized residual is greater than 2, or if the country name equals um, such and such. So let's see, this will be conditional commands. Let's start with something that should be pretty familiar. We'll do graph two-way, scatter. Let's go back to homework 1, expect on rural, and then lfit expect rural, and we will name this scatter 1, replace. Let's run this. This should look pretty familiar at this point. Here we go, right, we've seen this before, and let's say we want to label this country as a potentially outlying observation, perhaps, and you've known from looking at the data that this is Gabon. So what you would do is, let's put this on some separate lines just to make it easier to read. You would do scatter again, right? You do scatter expect rural if country equals Gabon, comma m label, which means label the points, and then we would say m label country. And we'll put it in a different color perhaps. And that is another simple one, m color. And we want to put it in red. And Stata has a whole list of many colors, which you can experiment with. And here we go. So what it does is, you can just go back to the command. It first scatters all of the points, and then the second line here, we just scatter the single point, giving it a label and a color. And what we get is Gabon labeled there. Let's say we wanted to have two countries. You can add and, which is the ampersand, and country equals, let's find another country, Singapore. So we just type that in, put it in quotes because it is a string, and let's redo this. Oops. I think I should have added an extra if in there. Oh no, I guess it, this was a mistake I was telling people about before. I don't mean to write and, I mean to write or, because no country has two different names. Or country equals Singapore, and or is through this vertical slash. Now this should work. Aha, here we go. So we get all the points, and then Gabon and Singapore are labeled, and you could do this with as many points as you like, and can be really, really helpful if you want some sort of subset of points, like if the country is above a certain value and it's, has a rural rate of this value. So you could sort of have multiple conditions. And then what you could also do is just have it based on a number. So for example, you could have it in red and labeled, let's say if unemployed, or let's start with GNI, if GNI is greater than, let's take a look at our data here. Let's say if the GNI is greater than 40,000. So we want to highlight those points. And get rid of Singapore. We're gonna label the country and color it red. And there we go. So now we have, it's pretty hard to read, but all these countries in red have very high GNI values of over 40,000. So it's an interesting way to look at your data. And what you can do is, let's say you just wanted a visualization here. And let's get rid of the labels. That makes it hard to read. Let's add another scatter. Expect rural if GNI is less than 40,000. We want that to be blue. So we're going to sort of color code our graph by very wealthy and less wealthy countries. And there you go. And then we see stuff down here where we have this very complex legend that's probably not useful, so we could add another option. Legend off. Let's run it again. Oops. Am I missing something here? Oh, that should go after the comma. my mistake there. So comma. No, not comma. I should have just put legend blue later on because we have the L fit as well. So we should go here. Legend off. Let's try this again. There we go. So that's a lot nicer. Let's say we want to label the y-axis as well. That's going to be another option. Y title. So this is rural population rate. Let's try it again. All right, so now we have a pretty complex graph with these conditional statements, and this can be really helpful if you want to flag residuals that have a greater value than 2 plus or minus 2, or Cook's D values above a certain cutoff, and it's just based on this sort of formula here. Keep in mind, as I forgot today, the difference between and or, because if it's or, you're going to be labeling, for example, separate countries, where if it's and, you're just going to have multiple conditions. So we could, let's just try one more. And if, let's see if this works, unemployed is less than, let's look at unemployment rate here. Unemployment is less than 5%. Yeah, because these are in percentages. Let's see if this works. Or did I miss something here? Oops, you don't need the second if. That's the problem. Aha, so now we have different colors, which we actually might want to label in our legend anyway. So the red are countries with GNIs, very high GNIs, and low unemployment rates. The dark blue, or the navy, are, let's see, are the high GNIs and with greater than that employment rate. And then if it has a low GNI, it's in blue. So you can see how this might be helpful for multiple regression if you wanted to code a single scatter plot by values of another variable, prototypical values of another variable, to make it easier to read. So hopefully this helps, and good luck on your homework.